The narrow gauge railway is a very small railway full of small engines. These engines may be small, but they get their work done quickly to avoid confusion and delay. Duncan is one of the small engines that works on the narrow gauge railway. He helps make sure that the standard gauge engines get the correct cargo that they need at the transfer yard. One night, after a long day of work, Duncan rolled into the sheds. "I am sick and tired of shunting trucks all day," complained Duncan. "I want to do an important job like you, Sir Handel, where you get to pull coaches with Skarloey." Skarloey and Rusty laughed. "You're not supposed to be pulling coaches," said Skarloey. "You're meant to do the dirty work like shunting trucks." That made Duncan very sad, and he fell asleep. Morning, Mr. Percival walked up to the sheds. "I have some good news," he said. "I have a special train for Duncan to take." "Ooh, what is it?" shouted Duncan with excitement. "The miners at the Crovin's Gate mine have found some special rocks, and they need to be classified. Me and Sir Topham Hatt are going to be looking at all the other railways this week, and we're going to take them to one of the railways because they specialize in classifying rocks. Tonight, Duncan, you're going to pull the train and you're going to take me with you. Then I'm going to get onto Donald's train where the cargo will be lifted onto Donald's train, and he will take me to Sir Topham Hatt's house because he lives right next to the Tidmouth Airport. We're going to be leaving tomorrow, and Sir Topham Hatt has found another guy to control the railway while we're gone." "Alright, I best be off my way. I better start packing." And Mr. Percival walked away. Duncan was excited. "I'm so excited to finally pull a special train." Rusty and Skarloey laughed. "Do you really think that pulling a train of rocks is special?" laughed Skarloey. "You guys need to chill out," said Sir Handel. "If he gets to pull a special train, let him. Just because it's a train of rocks, it doesn't mean that it's special. Some rocks can be really valuable, and these may cost a lot of money." After their discussion, they left the sheds to go do their normal jobs. The transfer yard was very busy, and Duncan worked his hardest throughout the whole day to make sure he got everything done. At the end of the day, Duncan shunted the last train into place. Then he coupled up to the back of the train and he pushed the train back up to the narrow gauge railway. "Why is this train so heavy?" grumbled Duncan. Soon enough, Duncan got to the top of the hill, and he went to the airport to drop off the trucks. Duncan shunted the truck at the airport, and then he went to Crovin's Gate Station to pick up the rock train. Duncan coupled up to the train at Crovin's Gate Station. The train was a bunch of trucks loaded up with rocks of different shapes and sizes. Mr. Percival climbed into Duncan's cab. Right before Duncan left, Rusty pulled up. "Have fun pulling your rock train," said Rusty. "Hey, this train is more important than you think it is," snapped Duncan. At that time, the guard's whistle blew, and Duncan stormed out of Crovin's Gate Station. Duncan was glad that he could finally pull his own train. "Slow down," warned Mr. Percival. "I'm an important engine," said Duncan. "Important engines are supposed to go fast." and sped down the viaduct. But up ahead, there was trouble. An engine had pulled up to the quarry, and the engine blew his whistle. The worker that was using a crane fell asleep, and it startled him as he woke up, and he swung the crane around. When the crane swung around, the cargo got detached. It slammed onto the track. The crate had burst open, and stones were laying on the track. Duncan slammed on his brakes, but it was too late. Duncan slammed into the rocks and got derailed. Rocks and assorted stones flew everywhere. Thankfully, Mr. Percival had jumped out of Duncan's cab just in time and wasn't hurt. Duncan grumbled. He was covered in stones and a box had slammed onto his head. Just then, Duncan heard a whistle. Donald was pulling his train and he raced up Gordon's Hill. "Stop!" shouted Duncan. But it was too late. Donald raced on the side and slammed into his train. The transfer yard was a disaster. The engine that had caused the accident raced away before anyone could see him. "Donald, are you okay?" asked Mr. Percival. "Yes, I'm okay," said Donald, "but I may need to go to the works." "I'll go call Sir Topham Hatt." And with that, Mr. Percival walked away. Soon enough, Sir Topham Hatt arrived, and he was not happy. "What in the world happened here?" said Sir Topham Hatt. "These rocks are special, and now they're all smashed." "I'm sorry, sir," said Donald. "Duncan was trying to warn me that he crashed, but I didn't hear him, so I crashed into his train, causing this big accident." "Duncan, how did you crash?" "An engine had puffed up next to the crane and blew his whistle. The crane got scared and he slammed a box onto the ground. The box was loaded with stones and it covered the tracks. I ran into them and now I'm here." "So who is this engine that caused the accident?" "We have no idea," said Mr. Percival. "This mystery needs to be solved. We cannot have a troublesome engine wandering around the island." "Well, I'm going to call for an engine to bring the breakdown train." Soon enough, the mess was cleared, and Donald left with his train. Duncan, however, still laid on the track. Just then, Rusty and Skarloey came. Skarloey came and coupled up to Duncan's trucks. "What on earth happened here?" said Skarloey. "It's a long story," said Duncan. Rusty then came around the other side. "Oh gosh," said Rusty. "You're gonna have to be taken to the works." Duncan's funnel was bent, and he had dents all over his body. "Just go ahead and take me out of here. I feel horrible," said Duncan. Skarloey left with Duncan's trucks. And Duncan started to be lifted onto the tracks. Soon, Duncan was taken away to the works, and he learned to always be careful when you're pulling a special train.